Hello and welcome to day 2 of the pond alterations. So the fishes are still quite happy despite going last night with only one of the pumps running. As you can see, the river's still running, but they're other pumping, so it's only 13,000 litres an hour on a 41,000 litre pond, so it's a pretty slow flow rate, and you can actually see it if you look inside the skimmer. It's not flowing at all, the skimmer. In fact, it's turned off, the weir's shut. And normally it's pulling quite hard down there, so it kind of misses that 18,000 litre an hour pump. So let's see if we can get it all back running again today. So we've got the first step down, and so what I've done is I put in this bit of pipe work to get all my lengths right. I mounted the pump on its actual stand, and I put a bit of insulation underneath the pump, so hopefully that any of the vibrations don't sort of get into that so much. I probably will do a bit, but it can only help, can't it? And then I've got all these 4-inch bits of pipe cut, so I know what I'm doing. And now I can take this joint off and I can insulate all that and tighten that up permanently. And I plan to cover this up with insulation, so bring that to here. And then put these green straps on here. And there we go, so that's a picture of that before insulation goes on. Let's get it all done with now. So that's this bit all done up, so I've insulated the little bits of pipe. Don't really know why, I've just got the insulation. Insulated that and strapped it all up, and everything's nice and tight, and we're all good. Then I've got to figure out something past this point and plumb this pump up to the return feed. The problem I've got now is that I've got as far as I can without removing the second system, this system, so really I've got to start removing that now. Because I need to plumb that up, and I can't get up there without removing that pipe work, and I've got to plumb that up, and I can't really get to that pipe work without, stopping water pumping through it. So let's get on with that. I'll show you what I'm doing to keep the pond running without none of the filtration system as well. So we'll get on with that now. So here we are at the river. I've got my pump set up to pump water in it temporary, because I don't want all that media drying out and dying. And you can see the pump down there. So now I'm draining the drum filter to dry out this system, and we'll see how we get on with that once that's dry. Basically what I'm doing to drain it is turning these off. So I've turned that one off there, and then there's 2 off there that go to it, and then basically it's just a case of opening the bead filter to the drain. You can see it's flowing down drain and flowing from the bead, from the drum filter. I'll just put the pump on like so, and we'll took all that water down drain. And we'll be able to see when air comes through it, through here. Here comes the air. Ooh. I'll turn that off and let the pump fill back up again. These things stop floating anyway. Now what I'm going to do is open the bottom of this and let all the remaining water out that I possibly can, so that'll pretty much drain everything. That, as you can see, it's moving some water from there. It'll also be emptying the inlet. So that noise is actually draining the water out of the system. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to put a cap on there, so stop water back flowing, and I'm going to get this pump fired up and get the media running again. So we should be alright then. So we've got to put a cap on that, temporary, so that water can't backflow. And now I need to get that pump running. There we go, that's that pump running. So the reason I wanted to put this second pump on here is because this media and that can't really do without water supply for very long at all. It will start to die off quite quickly, and I plan to actually take quite a long time to actually sort of plumb it back in, so I'm better off getting a second pump on it to keep it wet and keep it alive, because if it dies it's going to pollute the water, and the pollution in the water already cannot be filtered by anything else, so I'd be having quite a lot of trouble if I actually allow this filter to die. So just putting a second pump on it like this keeps it alive, and it keeps me out of trouble later on. So that's that part in it done now. The bead filter should be all drained. Let's have a look. Yep, dry as a bone. Got a bit of water at the bottom. I think I might back that out in a second. But it's pretty much drained. So there we go. Get on with piping again now. So that's the drum emptying, all the pipe work disconnected. Now we've got to figure out exactly where these 4-inch pipes are going to go, and to which one of these outlets they're going to go, and then block off the one I'm not going to use, because I'm only using one of them now. So let's see how that goes. So that's that bit of pipe done. Put 45 in there, which kind of makes it go around that corner a bit nice. That's why I chose to do that. And it should also, you know, restrict the flow. There's a slight slope on it down towards, you know, away from the filter, so it should drain quite nicely. And then obviously we've just got to put a rubber cap on that one. This all needs solvent welding up now, so I've just basically put it all together dry, and they can all, you know, it's nothing's connected, and they can all be removed. So now I've got to take all this and mark it with a permanent marker where it wants to be, then take it all to bits and solvent weld it all together. So I'll do that. Right then, so this is the joint I'm going to be welding, or one of them. I've marked it where I want it to be with a marker pen right there, so I need to get it back in that position when I get it back on. And also that enables me to see that it were actually on right when I first marked it, so that I know that it weren't, say if it were like that, the mark would have been there, and then when I pushed it further on the mark would have gone inside, and that's not what you want to see, because then you know it weren't right. So let's get on with putting it on. So I'm just going to go around it a bit with this emery, just to get it scratching. Not doing too much with it, not like taking the surface off it, I'm just literally getting it a bit of a scratch. Whether it's all necessary or not, I don't know, but my joints don't seem to leak. So we're alright. No, I'm doing inside this one as well. Well on here, get that one done. Right, now the next thing to do is get a bit of a brake cleaner. Clean it off, make sure there's no grease on it, and then try not to rub my mark off at the same time. I'll do inside this thing as well. Get both sides, because I will be welding up the other side later. Just means it's done while I'm at it. So that's the glue I'm going to be using, just a normal solvent weld glue. And I'm going to do inside of this one, and then I'm going to do the outside of that one. The reason I'm going to do that one first is because it won't drip on the floor. It'll sort of pool in the bottom of it, but it won't drip on the floor, and it being inside it'll stop it from drying out as quick, whereas on here you'll find it'll dry if you just breathe on it quite slightly. And when you're with 4-inch pipes, they can dry really quick, and before you've managed to actually glue the damn thing up. So let's get on with it. Always make sure you do this on a floor that you're not too worried about. lock is right there, so let's get it lined up. Now I'm going to twist it on once it starts. Wow, that's drying quite well already. Wow, that was dry. That's not even on. Get it, lift it up. Yeah. Damn. Right, we just managed it. That was drying quick, that stuff was. It looks a good seal. Yeah, it looks a good seal all the way around the edge. Wow, that one was touch and go. Let's do another. So there we go, that's that all solvent welded up. Fortunately the rest of the joints weren't quite as eventful as the first one I did, but that was probably because I weren't recording them. And yeah, you might be wondering why I've used solvent weld joints for these ones rather than rubber joints, and that's because they don't do a rubber 45, and I wanted this one to be shorter. As you notice, like a rubber joint like this sweeps a lot more, so it takes a lot more space up than a solvent weld one, so that's why I ended up using a solvent weld one. Also, solvent weld is a bit stronger and can support the weight of the pipe pulling down on it. So because this one's above the floor, it'll be holding the pipe upwards. So it should be quite good. But there, that's the only solvent weld section I'm doing with this part. So let's get it put on and see if it leaks. This is all plumbed up nicely then. We've got the rubber joint on there, and then obviously there was solvent weld 45 behind this insulation, and the 90 solvent weld down there. And I've decided to put insulation on it again for the noise issue. Obviously it's warm in here, so I'm really keeping the heat from warming the pond up, but if this pipe does vibrate a little bit, it won't transmit a noise into here, which would be nice. And that's why there's insulation on it, and I think it looks pretty good. I think it might look, kind of makes it look a little bit more uniform sort of thing. And then I've put the end cap on there, capped it all off. So this bit should be all fine now, ready to fill up and run. And obviously the drum's still empty, but we'll get into filling that up shortly. So this part is removing this pump. So this pump's actually pretty easy to remove because it's just rubber joints. So I've just got to remove that one and that one there, and probably take this bit off as well. And then it's just screwed on. I actually did put rubber underneath this one when I first installed it, and that made quite a lot of difference. I was quite surprised with that, and that's why I've chose to use an even thicker piece of rubber on there. But this pump is going right there, and similar mounting to that one. So that's the pump gone. No more pump there anymore, and it has reappeared over here, attached to this pipe work. So that 4-inch there converts underneath that. 4-inch converts to a 2-inch, and then goes straight into the pump. And then as of yet the pump goes nowhere, and I've done it on another sponge again, so the sponge is fairly loose on that, so it can sort of hopefully vibrate and not make any noise into this, but we'll see if that needs tightening up or whatever later on. And yeah, it's looking good. So that's 2 pumps on the mountings and that. So now it's just a case of actually plumbing them back to the pond. Another thing to get on with. So here's the drum, and we're about to start and let the water into the drum filter. And it should also purge the system as well, so we should see a bit of muck come through. And there we go, there's the first bit of water in. And it should be running down the, you can see it's running quite nicely down the new pipe. Very interesting noises. It's letting a bit of muck through. Yeah, it's definitely going down there with some speed now. That's just one of the 3 valves. Bits of trapped air in there. Right, that's that full. Let's go and have a look in the basement, see if it's leaking. Hopefully not, because I made sure that all the valves were shut and that needed to be shut, and all the joints were tight that needed to be tight. Can't hear anything. All quiet. So I've insulated as much as I possibly could. That's the new route to the Backy River up top, that way. And then that's the new route from that pump there into the below water level point. And then we've got the where the heater connects up to here, which I'll do another day. And now it's just a case of firing up the pumps and see if we go. I've got them running on an extension cable at the minute, but shouldn't be a problem. So if I open this valve, see what that does. So that's basically let oh, that valve leaks a little bit. That's interesting. That will open that way, so if I turn that way, I'll have to look at that in a minute. It's definitely letting some air out. Right, let's turn them pumps on and see what happens. 3, 2, 1. Right, clean out a bit of oil. Still quite noisy. Let's go and have a look upstairs. Wow, that's definitely a lot more water than the old pump used to pump. That's a hell of a lot more water. So we'll see how that copes with that. For sure. Wondering what's going on. She's definitely filling up. See, it's coming up down there a bit higher than water level used to be. Because this is on an 18,000 litre an hour pump now, rather than a... I see. I've got to adjust some more valves and get it working properly. Right, I'll get back to you. So the first issue we've encountered, or probably hopefully only issue we've encountered, is the increased flow rate through the river's backed it up a bit. And as you can see, it needs something doing about that. I'm going to probably take that pipe out there, because obviously a 2-inch pipe isn't good enough, and hopefully get that water level back down to where it should be. But so I'll get over there now and hopefully I can do that. So there we go, it has gone midnight, which is usually the time I finish most of my projects, and we've actually finished the majority of the work. We've still got some finishing touches to do. I've done the work on the river to make its water level a bit more appropriate, and I've took that 2-inch outlet off it, so it's quite noisy at the moment. So that's something I've got to sort out to reduce the noise levels again. But you definitely can't hear the pumps as much as you could before, so that's one plus. But you can't hear anything for all the water noise in there, but that'll be sorted out tomorrow. Thank you for watching this video. If you liked it, then please like it. If you want to see more videos like this, then please subscribe. If you have any comments or questions, then please comment them below. And I shall see you in the next video. Thank you for watching.